It's starting.
Okay.
Starting recording. Fuck it. Yeah. So today we are finally bringing it, guys. Well, long awaited Genic interview is finally here. Here is your host, Demetrius Triarius. And at the other side of the fucking conversation is my best fucking friend in the occult community, Joseph Dougherty, criminal
Greetings, greetings.
prostate, and adept of the black sorcery, Joseph. Welcome. And tonight we'll
Thank
talk
you.
about our work with the Jinn. So, how your work with the Jinn started, my dear friend?
Um, well, first I have to go back to how I became involved in the occult. Uh, 13 years old. Um, like a lot of people, I was dismayed with Christianity and the whole religious paradigm of Christendom. So I sought for an alternative, and I was always attracted to the devil. Anytime I was in church or any type of like obedience school, like Sunday school or after school program that taught religious studies, I was waiting for them to talk about the devil. Please talk about the devil. Anything about the devil. Please talk about the devil. Sometimes they did, and I got a hard on. Yes, the devil, the devil. So when I was 13, I was old enough to have a couple dollars in my pocket. I used to go to the mall and I picked up a copy of the Satanic Bible. In the Satanic Bible, there's a rite where you light a candle and you visualize shackles being struck off of your hands and your feet by bolts of lightning. So I did that. That night, my father said he seen three dark robed figures float past his room and into my room. That night, I was inspired by, let's just say, whispers. I didn't have any visual contact with spirits at that point. A whisper told me to hang 13 roses over the threshold of my bedroom. So I did. The next, I want to say, right before sunrise, I was visited by a Lilin entity. She came over my waist and swayed back and forth. It was just an outline of a dark shade that was darker than the black of my room, and I could see wide eye holes and a wide gaping mouth, just kind of hanging open, like swaying back and forth over my waist. And I had an orgasm, and no physical matter was left on my stomach. So the Lilith entity took my seed and left. That was my first experience with the spirit, and that I knew that the occult was real. I knew the spirit world was real, and I knew that the devil was real.
So
So
technically, you lost your fucking virginity to the succubi. It's like crazy. So yeah, but my work with the Jinn started differently. I attempted suicide, and at the moment I wanted to kill myself, a pillar of flame appeared in front of me. And that pillar of flame shaped into a male figure and commanded me to stop. And I stopped. And later on, I found out that that pillar of flame was Paimon Shaitan, one of the nine demonic kings of the Goetia, one of the Arabic war, and one of the aspects of Shaitanic current.
mm,
And this medium, I once and for all give praise to Paimon Shaitan and to all of his shayateen and all of his jinn and everything he did for me, especially saving my life. I want to publicly say my audience that I don't work with the jinn anymore, but I am still eternally grateful to the jinn, especially to the Paimon Shaitan. And I recommend Paimon Shaitan to majority of beginners out there. And my delay and acceptance of my abandonment of the genic work is in any shape or form shouldn't be taken as a message that jinn are not worthy of working with. I learned from the jinn a lot, but my path changed. But in the name of everything Paimon did for me, I will film this interview and share together with my friend Joseph majority of the things we deem suitable for the public. So, can you tell me and to the audience some of the short ritual they can do to make a contact with the jinn?
Well, it's not necessarily short and it's physically demanding. Um, so I made contact with a Jinnic elder. He's the elder of the Ghouls named Abdul Hassan. This isn't my first contact with the Jinn, by the way. I have worked with King Paimon as well. And I will say that King Paimon is an excellent spirit. I praise King Paimon. He's wonderful. First, I'll start with what happened with me and King Paimon. So I started doing goetic rites, and when I first started doing them, I was a bit of a coward. Um, I I evoked Archangel Michael to stand at the threshold of my son's door because I was scared. Quite honestly, I was scared. What I was doing, fooling around with goetic forces, being scared, I don't know, but I was led in this direction. So after I did that, I made significant contact with King Paimon, and he scolded me a bit. He said, "Why, Archangel Michael? You don't trust me. You don't trust us. What's the deal with summoning the archangel?" First of all, he didn't come when I evoked Archangel Michael. So every operation I attempted evoking archangels prior was a failure. The demons basically said "fuck you." So when I tried it without, King Paimon came, and I was embarrassed and ashamed that I had evoked the archangels beforehand because I never had any experience with the archangels prior. So he basically said, "Do you think you'll be treated any differently by the archangels? Do you think that you'll be treated more fair by the archangels?" And logically, to me, that made sense because they are spirits with an agenda as well. So I started forming a relationship with King Paimon just through simple goetic evocations, opening his sigil, lighting some candles and some incense, and just staring at the sigil until it flashed, and I would pay attention to my immediate surroundings. I didn't have significant physical manifestation, but I could hear things moving around me, and I could feel the presence of uh, otherworldly entities, and the whispers became more prominent and loud. King Paimon said he didn't want anything from me, just to see what he can offer me, and we'll go from there. At that time, at my mundane job, I was at odds with my supervisor or my boss. When the relationship with King Paimon started to flourish, that ended. I got my way with everything I wanted at work. I became elevated at my station at work. My boss talked to me with the utmost respect. I got a raise, and I knew that was thanks to King Paimon manipulating the mind of my supervisor. It was to the point to where he was toying with him and entertaining me. So yeah, hail King Paimon. I love that spirit.
So,
But
technically,
yeah,
yeah, continue talking.
no, go ahead. I was finished.
So, technically, what he tends to do is he tends to create from your life some form of a playground in which all of the people move exactly as they should for your benefit. But there
Correct.
seems to be emotional detachment from you and them, as well as from Paimon and them. As soon as you become emotionally attached to people in your life who are under this manipulative influence, manipulation stops. So, in order to be successful in this form of manipulating sorcery of King Paimon, you need to be emotionally completely detached from the objects of manipulation. So, if you need to manipulate someone through the art of Paimon Shaitan, you need to master emotional detachment. And that's the aspect of his work which created me the most trouble. And this is also the reason why Paimon Shaitan discourages his devotees from sexual activity. Because you cannot have sex with someone and be completely emotionally detached from them. As soon as you get that sexual attachment to someone, you become emotionally attached, which means that perfect manipulation of Paimon Shaitan cannot be achieved. And he really teaches extreme form of emotional detachment to his chosen devotees. And that's how he operates on the highest level. Now, on lower levels, he presents himself as a teacher of men, so sometimes he shows affection. But when you work with him for a long time, especially for manipulation magic, he will request three things. The first thing is to seal your sacral chakra so that your sexuality is not expressed. And you save that energy and you cultivate it for what he calls the highest science. And what he considers the highest science is essentially an attempt by the Shaitanic rulers as well as the Jinnic elders to create a crossbreed between human and Jinn. They want to create some form of superior race and they want to destroy the bridge between the invisible world or Gaib and the human world. They want to connect the worlds in physical sense, in which the Jinn will be seen as humans are, and the world of Gaib, world of the Jinn, will not be unseen anymore. That's the one of the goals of Paimon Shaitan, and he uses
Mhm.
this extreme form of manipulation to achieve this goal. Now, can you just share with the audience some techniques you use, some spells you use with Paimon, how they are done, and then I will do my part, and then I will also share with the audience how to work with Paimon Shaitan. I will give some spells too.
Well, I had significant breakthrough with your chants, actually. Um, any type of song or hymn or rhythmic cadence is appreciated, and you will get manifestation quicker than the Solomonic methods. So just a darkened room and begin to chant or a hymn, and the spirits come quite quickly. So if you look in Demetrius's playlist, you'll find Jinnic chants, and there's one specifically for King Paimon, and that is the one that I had the most success with.
Yeah, yeah, but can you say something which is unique to you, some genic ritual or something? Like something you found out. What about the black cube, by the way?
What about it?
So you told me before about black cube. I never discovered anything
Well,
about black cube.
well,
That's your.
that was work with Iblis. Um, what Iblis instructed me to do is draw his name on a rock and consecrate that area for the jinn. Um, so I'm gonna I'm not talking about King Paimon anymore. I'm now talking about Iblis. My work with Iblis. So when I was working with Iblis, I made uh, an agreement with Iblis to start bringing him initiates or soldiers, start recruiting people. Um, while I was doing this, he started training me in physical martial arts. But to set up this situation, I had to find a place where I wouldn't be disturbed. And I brought a like a fireball, anything made of metal where you could burn materials. I would burn pages of the Quran off of your suggestion, and that was successful at gathering large numbers of jinn. Um, but Iblis is always at the center with the work with this particular type of jinn. So I would go out by myself and bring the bowl and burn the incense, and Iblis would teach me hymns of his own. And I would let Iblis take control of my body, and I would go through physical motions. He taught me knife throwing. He taught me how to consecrate my blades. He taught me all types of things. But as far as the black cube, uh, I don't remember specifically what what you're talking about.
So, can you tell me and everybody else how to consecrate the blades in the name of bliss? Can you give exact procedure?
Yeah. So you're gonna want to get a fireball. You're gonna put some of your hair, some of your spittle into the fireball. Light it with any type of flammable. Put pages of the Quran, and you're going to get a little bit of your blood, however you want to draw it. Either take a small cut with your blade, or any method to put blood on the knives, and the smoke rising from the burning pages of the Quran. You just put the blade over the smoke. You just
Wow.
wave it over the smoke.
Is there
That's the
any,
consecration of the blade.
yeah, but is there any magical hymn recited while the flames are burning and
There is actually, while I was in the act of consecration, I was in partial possession with Iblis. So I would speak uh, in tongues. So I don't remember exactly what I was saying. So I never wrote down specifically what I was saying, because to me, I don't understand what I'm saying when I'm in possession rights. It just flows out. It's easy to get in possession with the gin. I find that it's a lot easier than other goetic spirits, but the gin are very adept in entering your body. They enter through the anus, and you feel it rise up your spine, and it kind of goes throughout your whole body. I mean, they can move you around like a puppet.
yeah,
It's pretty
but
awesome.
in order to like invoke the jinn, especially Iblis, you should use the chant Khala Iblis, Khala Shaitan, Khala Jinn. I will repeat it once again. Khala Iblis, Khala Shaitan, Khala Jinn. And this chant is repeated in a sacred space. Now, if you don't know how to read a sacred space, there are many videos on this channel which explain it. So, repetition of this chant in a sacred space will summon Iblis Shaitan. Now, you will probably not feel him physically, you will not see him physically, but you will be able to feel his energy and his force. And when he arrives, then you invite him to possess you. And then, in that state of possession, you do what my friend Joseph Dougherty said in order to consecrate the knives, and Iblis will kinda make you speak in tongues too. But I suggest this night consecration to be for a little bit more advanced practitioners. So, is there anything else you can give as a procedure regarding your work with the jinn?
Well, I can go into what Abdul Hassan relayed to me, and that goes hand in hand with what you were saying about the jinn breeding a form of kind of crossbreed humans and jinn. And that's done through, see, humans, we can't turn into jinn. So, what is taking place is you would marry or begin a relationship with uh, uh, a shaiteen, a jinn female,
Yeah.
um, and you will have sexual relations with the female, and they go off and so your seed is used for the creation of crossbreed jinn and humans.
So are you fucking kidding me? I actually performed an experiment with ghoulish genic female
Mhm.
regarding the exact thing. I kinda need to summon her again to see what is the product of the experiment. What is my son, quote unquote, and I need to start working with it. Oh my god. What?
So yeah, Abdul Hassan instructed me to go to a desolate area with standing water. So that would be like a creek. I don't know if any of your listeners have any creeks or standing water with, that green shit that floats on top of it, like algae. Uh, so standing water, so to speak. And if it's a place where you can kind of sit in the water, that's even better. That's easier for the jinn to enter you through the water into your body. That's also a way for uh, a, that's also a way if you've never sat down with a Jinnic tribe before to get your foot in the door and begin a relationship with that tribe. While you're sitting in the water, they're feeding off of you. They're eating you, but it doesn't hurt. It just feels like your skin's tingling a bit.
Yeah,
What?
well,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that's like a form of initiation. And
Yeah,
can you like give like exact procedure? So what you do before you go into the creek, what chants you repeat, how you go into the creek, how much you remain like yeah.
just have the intention to do exactly that. While I was in the water, I just simply, in plain English, called out Abdul Hassan, Abdul Hassan, and chanted his name, and he came. This stuff doesn't have to be complicated. We tend to overcomplicate it. Like a lot of your chants are simple and effective, and that's the point. You don't have to go into archaic incantations that you have to read out of a book. It's better something that you could remember, and it's like sing-songy. It sounds like a little like a like a little hymn, like a sing-songy thing, and there's something to do with the rhythmic cadence that I don't know, maybe gets the human being in the mood or gets you into that state easier. But yeah, just go to a standing water, sit in it, kind of meditate, sit there, reach out with the intention to contact Abdul Hassan and simply speak his name. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but I need to kind of explain together with you who Abdul Hassan is in order to not confuse the audience, because we kind of talked a little bit too early, you know? We first explained what is the short ritual for summoning him,
Mhm.
but we didn't say who we are summoning. So technically, there are three big genic races: Ifrits, Marids, and Ghouls. Now, since we are talking about Abdul Hassan, the Ghoulish elder, which is the first male ghoul who ever lived in existence, uh, we will talk about ghouls. So the ghouls technically live in a graveyards. They live in a dirty and polluted places, and they are the most numerous of the genic races. And since they are extremely numerous, they are also extremely poor. So there is a lot of really strong ghouls, but also a lot of really weak ghouls, and their motto is quantity over quality. However, Abdul Hassan, as the most powerful ghoul who ever lived, is extremely powerful being, and he is much stronger than many beings from well-known grimoires such as Lilith or Satan or Molech. Abdul Hassan is much stronger, and he is one of the few spirits who terrify me, and I truly congratulate you for working with Abdul Hassan much more than I did, Joseph. And yeah, so technically, how he instructed Joseph is he instructed him to go in a creek and then chant his name until he, Abdul Hassan, arrives and possesses him. Now, regarding my personal experience with Abdul Hassan, since I have a chronic condition, he was really good in healing it, in helping me dealing with the consequences of it. He was extremely willing to help me to send his sons, his ghouls, to aid me. He was also extremely knowledgeable, casually giving me the secrets of necromancy, which I am not allowed to share, I think. And he also immediately offered me to give one of his daughters to be given to me as a spiritual wife. Now, I need to explain here what means the concept of the spiritual wife or the genic wife, what it means. So, you are given a genic spirit to be with you, which is of the opposite or the same gender, depending on your sexual preferences. And the purpose of that spirit is for you to practice sex magic with it and possibly procreate. Those spirits teach you magic and sorcery, and they also help you in your daily life. What you know is that those spirits are really serious about their obligations. So if you swear an oath that you will not marry a human woman or another genic woman, that oath should be respected truly. And but there are jinns who will accept to be with you alongside human woman or alongside other genic partners. But you really need to be careful because if you break your deal, there are really few things which are more terrifying than the broken deal of the broken marriage with a jinn. So be really careful about this. I'm telling this to the audience. But did you ever have any relations of romantic nature with jinn?
So, so I'll get into that a little bit. A lot of your dealings with, I don't know if other genic tribes, but with the ghouls, as far as the magic that they teach you, they ask you not to. They ask it to be a broken chain of narrators, so they ask you not to pass it along. The magic that they teach you is personal to you, and it may not work for other people. And in order to have a partner or one of the elders' daughters in marriage, they want to meet you first. They want to feel you out. They want to get to know you, and then they'll offer you um, perhaps a daughter. Now, this has dual purposes to procreate, like you said, a crossbreed between humans and jinns. And every jinnic tribe, from what I can understand, has a liaison. They don't like, at least the ghouls do. They don't like to deal with humans. Frankly, they really don't like humans. So they have one human that they deal with for everything. For talking to people, for talking to other spirits, and so forth. So there are specific initiations, like I said, the sitting in the creek, letting them feast on you. Specifically, that's the first thing that you'll do, and then a shaiteen or a Jinnic elder's daughter will be offered to you. Um, as far as sex goes, yeah, yeah, there's sex.
Yeah, there are some pretty weird experiences. But what I noticed is that ghoulish race is essentially they seem easier to summon than the other two, but they are also riskier to summon because what happens a lot of times with ghouls is some broke lower motherfucker ghoul will come and pretend to be higher motherfucker and he will like attach to you and eat the fuck out of you, pretending to
Well,
be some.
there's no mistaking between lower Ghuls and Abdul Hassan. There's not.
Yeah.
He's huge. He's huge.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, he is.
massive.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely massive. Like once I summoned him and he was like bigger than buildings in the city and his head was like above the buildings, about 3 meters above the buildings. And it was like,
So
what the fuck,
so
icon?
so when you're sitting in a desolate area, say some woods with some standing water, you'll literally feel like you're inside Abdul Hassan's belly button or something. Like you're on him. So that's how huge he is.
Yeah,
Something akin to Belial. Belial is just as big.
yeah, but Abdul Hassan is something much older and stronger than what we know as Bilal. For sure. So, technically speaking, please don't try this if you are not experienced, but like learn how to raise a sacred space and summon spirits before trying this out. But in order to summon Abdul Hassan, the magical chant is Khaya Hassan, Khaya Abdul Ghul. Khaya Hassan, Khaya Abdul Ghul. So repeat this in a consecrated sacred space, in a presence of other spirit you trust who can verify that what appeared to you is indeed a ghoulish elder, and the Abdul Hassan will come. He is something which surpasses in power the entire grimoires. So I didn't work with him a lot, but from what I experienced, he himself surpasses in power entire registers of spirits combined. He is completely different animal. He can casually defeat any spirit from the Goetia, and I think he's stronger than all of them combined. If you ask me, he is a completely different animal. But unfortunately, I worked mostly with the Marids, with the Marid Jinn. I didn't work a lot with the ghouls, so I will with audience share some of my experiences with the Marids too, and then we will discuss your experience with the Shayateen. So the Marids, they are essentially the race of the Jinn who live underwater, and they are closely connected to the sea. Uh, I will give man meditation to help with the connection with Marids. So you go near the sea and you go into deep meditative trance. And then what you do is you visualize breathing dark red smokeless fire from the sea, and you breathe it as quickly as possible until it fills your entire aura and you are kind of burning. And then when you start to burn, you are still in that meditation near the salt water and you are still breathing in that dark red smokeless fire. But this time you are not focusing on it entering your aura. Instead, you are focusing on that smokeless fire turning into the black light and emanating from you. So, at the end of this meditation, you will kind of be filled with smokeless fire, and then outer layers of your aura will literally emanate black light. And if you do it long enough, you will become alchemically attuned to the marids to the point that marids will recognize you as somebody who want to work with you, and they will come to you on their own. Marids are difficult to reach. At average, they are stronger than ghouls, but like older ghouls and older marids are not different in power. However, marids are much less numerous than ghouls, so they are much difficult to reach, much more difficult to reach. I also have meditation for working with ghouls. You go on a dirty place and then you breathe in from like a junk, dark gray smokeless fire, and you breathe it in until it fills you. So you breathe in that polluted smokeless fire until it fills your aura, and then when it fills your aura, what you visualize is like a polluted smoke rising from you. And then what you do is you start burning something really dirty, really smelly, and you breathe in a really small amount of that substance while you are infused with that dark gray smokeless fire. And through breathing of this polluted smoke, which is physical, at the end of the rite, you kind of seal the transformation. So that's a meditation to connect with the ghouls. The ghoulish meditation will work much quicker, but Maridic meditation will work slower. So yeah, those are two meditations.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about the Marits.
Yeah. So can you like how many rituals you perform with Abdul Hassan, like, and what you gain from the entire thing?
Well, they could help you financially. They could help you gain your astral senses. They could envelop you with a substance that will repel curses.
Yeah.
Uh, they can, but the magic, again, the magic that they teach you is for you only. It's it's not for anyone else. It's not something that you want to try to go out and publish. Um, because frankly, it's dirty work and it's not glamorous.
Yeah,
But
good. Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Were you saying
So
something?
yeah, so can you share with the audience some rituals Ghoul gave you which you feel will be useful for the audience? Because with this shit you never know. The Jinn are secretive, so but can you like share with the audience something Ghouls gave you?
Like I said, it's pretty private. So you could just work off of the meditations and the personal experiences that you have with them will be yours. I would advise you not to talk about them with other people. That's just me. If you want to share the experiences that you have with them with other people, you've given quite useful information on how to contact them. But what happens after that, it's personal.
Yeah, yeah. I will give like one last method for contacting ghouls specifically here. So, since this entire podcast is dedicated to Abdul Hassan, the ghoulish elder, I'm kind of obligated to keep this last method. So, what you should do is you should do like this ghoulish meditation for a month before trying to contact any ghouls. So, do ghoulish meditation 15 minutes a day for a month before trying to contact any ghouls. Uh, Once you do that ghoulish meditation for a month, uh, go into the graveyard, and then what you do in a graveyard is you bring a Quran with you, or a Bible if you really don't have a Quran. But they like fucking with the Quran more. They hate the Bible too, but they have a special hatred for the Quran because those are Arabic spirits and Quran is written specifically against them. So you go to the Quran with the Quran in the graveyard. You do ghoulish meditation there, and then you proclaim, in the name of the Abu Hassan, the elder of the ghoulish race, I burn this chain of the unseen world so it can be broken, and we can see the numerous defilers once again. And then you light the Quran and let it burn on the graveyard while you do ghoulish meditation. And while the Quran burns, the enormous amounts of ghoulish dark gray smokeless fire will rise. And then you breathe in that fire as much as possible into your aura. And once it is finished, once the Quran is burned completely, what you should do is you should take a little bit of ash from the burnt Quran and you should consume the ash. You can consume it with the water, you can consume it raw. Once it is done, you should dig the ash into the graveyard. And then in front of the grave, you dig Quran. What you should do is you should start conjuring Abdul Hassan. Khaya Hassan, Khaya Abdul Ghul will be the chant. And you will repeat the chant over and over again until the elder appears. This is a specific instruction I received for the first summoning of him for the people who have like weak astral senses, who have
Okay,
some, but
okay.
they, yeah,
I'm allowed to share one specific thing here, and and it's attached to what you're saying. So, if this is going to be just like Dimitri said, your first interaction with them. This is a self burial rite. So when you go in the cemetery, you're going to dig a shallow grave. You're going to want to create for yourself a burial shroud, and you're going to create a chest plate on the burial shroud. You're going to draw on the chest plate what comes to your mind. For myself, it looked like some scribbles, but it's what my hand was led to do. Um, you're going to write that across the burial shroud. You could just get a sheet, cut a hole in it, and put it over you. Then draw the letters across the front of it, put it on yourself. Then dig a shallow grave enough for your head to stick out of, and then pull the dirt over yourself, and then you could begin the chant to Abdul Hassan.
yeah. And here is the thing. So this call of the elder is specific because I need to give a specific instruction here for many people to make things clear. So
Okay.
if you are not accustomed to seeing spirits, Abdul Hassan will probably not come personally. He will send one of his messengers. And how you will recognize the messengers from the imposters? Messenger, when the messenger arrives, you should feel a really strong presence, and you should also feel and see some form of a physical manifestation. So that should be a dark gray figure, which is really like powerful and dominant, which like radiates with filth, like astral filth, but it also radiates with enormous amounts of power. And Hassan kind of calls them, uh, how he calls them, like the old defilers, uh, like his personal. guard. Those are like his sons who kind of rose through the ranks and became really powerful. So ghouls are usually like really numerous, and average ghoul is not that powerful, but those guys they are like at the level of the spirits from the Goet. Yes. So each of them individually is like powerful as a Goetic spirit, as some of the spirits you find in the Goetia. They are really powerful, those messengers. And when they come to you, you should like light a black candle, offer them some rotten food, and tell them to send greetings to Abdul Hassan and to start teaching you. Because if messengers appear, that then it means that you shouldn't really try to reach Abdul Hassan. You should work with the messenger who appears to you. Now there is a reason why I dictate that whoever wants to initiate into current of Abdul Hassan should, for at least a month, perform a meditation. I said that's because the meditation develops astral senses really heavily, and without astral senses, you cannot perceive those entities well, which means that there is no point in trying to summon them if you cannot perceive them. There is also one more thing you can do to open up your astral senses. So take a little bit of your graveyard dirt or the land from the graveyard, anoint your forehead, and then visualize like a portal, and that from that portal, the black filthy hand will like enter your forehead and like start moving within your head. And this is like a really intense and painful exercise to open up your astral senses with ghouls, but it works. So,
If if
oh,
they have the balls to spend the night in the graveyard, another thing, you have to leave before the sun comes up.
yeah,
um, if you have the balls to spend the night in the graveyard with them, I could almost guarantee that you're going to be able to not only see but hear the physical manifestation. So that's a good exercise within itself. Just the self burial, right? If you have the
yeah,
balls to do that, you have passed an essential initiation.
yeah,
This kind of
yeah,
work isn't cut out for many people. You have to be a serious explorer or be a person that really wants to grasp power.
yeah. Technically speaking, like what we are talking here, like I think if people just did two meditations, like astral senses development one and
Hmm.
the ghoulish flames meditation, I think majority of the audience will be traumatized simply by the effect of those two meditations. Like people are not ready for this. I think we are maybe wasting time by sharing this with the public, but we have to. Because Abdul Hassan was pretty specific that he wants this stuff out there. But like in this podcast, we gave you three initiation rites, we gave you a bunch of inside quirks, and we gave you two meditations for astral senses development and energy bodybuilding. So if you really don't do anything with this, you are a motherfucker who is a lazy fuck. Like we gave you enough information to you in this fucking podcast. Majority of people like charge thousands and thousands of dollars for this. And if anybody comes to me with an intention to like work with the ghouls, I will simply tell them I said everything I needed to say in a podcast. And if that's not enough for you to start, you can gently and casually fuck yourself in the ass. Like,
No, but
seriously.
seriously, if you start a relationship with the ghouls, you will not be disappointed. I mean, I can't speak of any of the other tribes. You will not be disappointed. They treat you with respect, which is saying a lot for Jinnic races.
Yeah. But here is the thing. So I'm gonna just give a little bit of the quirk here. So I talked a little bit about the marids in this
Mhm.
podcast. Uh, and I'm just gonna say that maridic initiation is equally difficult. So you need to go into the sea, but they will like purposefully let you in a situation in which you are like tempted to drown, right? So they will not allow you to drown, but you will experience the fear of drowning. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So if anybody thinks that you can just like start working with the Jinnic tribes out of your ass, especially with the Jinnic elders, you are like fucking, you are fucking idiot. But this is a form of magic which is really tangible, and they will really deliver more than other spirits. But yeah, they are really demanding. You cannot just grab your ass and start working with marids and ghouls, especially with their elders. You need to earn their respect. Uh, so, the last question for this podcast is, let's shortly summarize all of the positive things which happened to you since you started working with Abdul Hassan.
Um, Financially, I have become more stable than I have ever been in my life. I have had multiple enemies throw curses at me that have had no effect, little to no effect. I was able to literally devour the curses that came at me, and the other ones just didn't get through. There are a number of legionnaires that maintain the perimeter of my house. So I'm well protected. If you are worthy enough to get into a tribe, they'll take care of you. But there's work to be done once you get there. And another thing, when you start working with them, don't share it with people. Don't
Yeah, we just
do
shared
that.
just basics here. Like, don't think that I will ever share the secrets of Maridic Elder with the public. I don't want to die. So, yeah, thank you for your time, Joseph Dugarty, and this was a really awesome podcast. So, thank you
Thank
guys
you,
to,
brother. Thank you for having me.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.